Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Davide from Europe for Youth Association.
And I'm Fabio, bella a tutti.
We are the two volunteers, as you know, from the previous podcast, and we are here to talk to you about Nowa Huta.
The quarter itself was really particularly interesting, and as the other volunteers suggested to us, we decided to go straight to the museum to avoid getting lost inside the little streets and places in Nowa Huta.
Exactly. So, a short introduction about Nowa Huta. Nowa Huta is a quarter that was built during the Soviet part in history. They built this quarter to show how the power of the society in that time. So their structure and their architectonic, and as we saw, it was really gray, really high. How can I say?
You felt like surrounded at some point, like totally gray, huge buildings anyway. A feeling of concentration, like everything was overwhelming you in some way.
That you feel small looking at everything.
Exactly.
So going down to the tram, we went straight to this museum that was really really nice, and they really suggest us to go. And what did attract you the most from the museum, Fabio?
Okay, first thing first, the museum that we went to was Nowa Huta Museum, and it was structured in two different parts. The first one was based on all the communistic story when it comes to Poland, so from the start of the occupation till the end of it, and a second part in which David is gonna talk to you about later. The first part was really interesting to me because it was how to say, it was all the history of communism, as I already said, and it was really well structured from the beginning, in which there was an idealization of communism, a different point of view of it, since they were the kind of post-Nazi liberator, to a development in which they found them as occupant, like as oppressor as the previous Nazis, and the revolt of the people in Poland, and in the end, of course, when they managed to actually kick them out of the country. The first part was centered about the story of a statue of Lenin. This statue was built in the main square of Nowa Huta, and right now there's no trace of it left, and we discovered why. That was this huge statue that was hated by the people in Nowa Huta at some point, because it was the symbol of oppression of communism in general. And there was the whole history of how people with little act of rebellion were trying to kick the communists out, and they were fighting against this oppression, and the whole history of how the statue began the construction and was destroyed in the end and moved out.
Yeah, and funny story. Now the statue of Lenin was sold to a Sweden multimillionaire, so that he has in his garden somewhere around the world. And the second part that Fabio was talking about, it was the underground museum. So like in the same museum, you just go underground, and there was all a building under the first level that was built as for the war, for the fear of the war that after the Second World War could happen between USA and Russia. So in this period called the Cold War, all the country were preparing for the nuclear bomb, and so Nowa Huta was structured that more or less half of the building has this underground ready for this war. And so entering, you can see all the instrument, if if it have passed. So like all the instrument, the radio connection, all the mask, all the
Air filters.
air filters, and all the instrument that could be necessary during a war,
A nuclear war.
a nuclear war like this that was fought. So luckily at the end it didn't pass, and now we have all the remains of this structure. And it was really nice to see how well organized it was for this. That they were thinking that could pass soon.
Fun fact about this second part is that pretty much every room in the bunker itself, in pretty much every room there was one mannequin waiting for you, and we didn't really expect about it. Like, we got jump scared at least 4 times while during the visit, because it was super strange and super particular, but still.
Yeah, it was like a film horror.
Yeah.
In the set of a film horror. And then after this museum, we jumped again to the main square. This main square super characteristic, and the other suggestion that we looked on the internet was to go in this place to have a meal. That was the characteristic, typical meal during the Soviet period. The typical in the typical lunch that they serve you a soup, super hot, for 2 zloty and some pierogi, and actually for the COVID we couldn't manage to eat inside. So with -5 degrees we were outside drinking our soup, and discovering that at the end of the soup there was a egg entire, and we had to eat it without fork and without knife. It was
It was an interesting experience when it comes to feeling like cheap meal, but at the same time really good, and experience it in the cold weather. And
I can say that after the soup I was full for half of the day, really. So and then after from there we moved to we had a round around Nowa Huta, and we went to this other museum, the Military Achievement Museum, that was super characteristic because outside there was a tank, so we immediately recognized it, and I was completely sure that the tank was not that wasn't real 100%. Then we discovered that at the end it was real. It was used since 30 years ago for the military service and stuff like this. And I was not shocked, but I never saw a tank
this close. I mean, luckily enough, we never saw a tank this close. But
and so we suggest you a lot this museum because the lady was really really kind.
Like, the most particular fact was that when we got in front of it, we thought it was closed because it looked like closed. But then as soon as we opened the main door, there was this super kind lady welcoming us and guiding through all the museum, even though we had no booking or anything. She just opened the museum for us because it was locked since there was no visitors. But since it was opening hours, she just opened it from us and guided us through all the visit by sharing her knowledge, and really in a super kind, super welcoming way. We were really impressed by her.
And sharing also her history, because she talked also about her father that was deported in one of the concentration camp, and so inside this museum you can see all the weapons and all the dress during the year. So during the First War, the Second, during the Nazi occupation, the concentration camp, all the place where the Nazi have done things that didn't pass to the history so much, because we just know some of the place, not all, and there was a map super interesting where it was treating everything.
Like uniforms for every single person, starting from the prisoner, ending to the military general. It was super impressive, and they were up. Actually, we asked the lady, and she said that they were actual uniform used in the past, not even reconstruction. It was super nice.
Yes, small, so to visit in 1 hour maximum, but really interesting, full of different characteristic, and also medals and other stuff take from the soldiers, flag from the past, and yeah. So we really suggest you this.
Well, in the end, I think the visit to Nova Huta was really productive. Like, probably two of the museums that we enjoyed the most till now, even though we saw a lot also in Krakow. And we really suggest you to actually check it out if you still have to.
So exactly as Fabio said, it was really worth it. Passing out day like 3-4 hours have a walk and visit how in this period was the, because it's like doing a jump in the past, coming back in the past of 40-50 years, and is still the same structure. You feel in the same period. It was really really impressive. So thank you very much again for the listening, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye bye.